Hey everyone, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you guys with me to some of my favorite antique stores in North Carolina and just showing you my process for picking out vintage and antique items for my home. So I know my channel is really centered around budget decorating, and I know antique stores are not always budget decorating. So I'm going to kind of be walking you guys through what prices are good for certain things, the price ranges for certain items, what's a deal, what's not a deal. I'm going to show you guys what I look for personally, just things I sift through, and how I really decorate my home with these found vintage pieces. So I've gone vintage shopping a lot these last couple months. It's just like become my new hobby, much to my husband's chagrin. But yeah, I have a lot of new items to share with you guys. So there will be a haul at the end of all of my pieces, and I'll kind of show you how I style them in my house as well. So if you guys are ready, let's go shopping.
All right, so we're starting off at the Depot at Gibson Mall, and this is actually the largest antique mall in the South, so it was super fun to look around here. If you guys are unfamiliar with antique malls, they are typically rented out by a bunch of vendors, so each vendor has their own booth, and prices can vary depending on the vendor, so it's definitely kind of fun to look around just because you never know what you're gonna find, and it's fun to always score those deals. Okay, so one thing that I absolutely love to look for while antiquing is primitive wood. And this is just really any wood that looks to be very old and aged, just something you can't buy at Target or Home Goods. You know, it's obviously been worn over time, and I just think that that looks so expensive, so cozy, and I think that items like that add so much character to your home. So while primitive wood is beautiful, it can tend to be a bit pricey depending on the piece you get. So something I like to do to incorporate primitive wood into my decor but not spend a lot of money is to get things like rolling pins or old spoons and put them on display in my crock in my kitchen. And I feel like this just really makes your kitchen a lot more soft and cozy, and you can mix in newer spoons so it's still functional at the same time. You know, I keep the ones I use in there along with like the old decorative ones, so it's a great way to kind of add that, you know, primitive wood to your space without spending a bunch. I will say this shop in particular by this vendor was very pricey. I've gotten spoons for $5 and rolling pins for $15, so you know, I really wouldn't pay more than that, but they had some really great quality items here, and it's always just fun to look around. And sometimes if the price is a little high but the item is very unique or has just like the perfect use for my space, then I might consider buying something. But this is definitely something I always scan for, is primitive wood, because I feel like it really just warms up your space and makes it feel a lot more cozy. So one thing I like to look at mostly for inspiration is artwork. As you guys can see, this one is $350, which it is a gorgeous piece, but it's just way out of my price range. I loved this one with all of the neutral colors and all of the paint detail on there. I thought this would look good in so many different spaces. But one thing you can do to kind of cut down on the costs but still keep it semi-authentic is to get some antiqued frames and then go online and buy a digital download of a vintage style painting and just print that out and put that in one of the frames. So, you know, you don't pay $350 for a painting, but it's still kind of authentically vintage, if that makes sense. I know the painting itself isn't, but you kind of can get that look. I will link a couple of digital downloads below of similar pieces. Also, I found if you print them out on watercolor paper with just like a regular printer, then they kind of end up looking a little bit more like a painting as well. So that's just a little tip. So another thing that I love looking for while antiquing are books. And what I typically try to look for are books with neutral bindings that would make really great, you know, coffee table decor or shelf styling decor. This one I was obsessed obsessed with, and I got it to the counter and it was $43. Apparently it was signed, but I just love the age look of it. It was still in good condition and it was really pretty and neutral. But typically books are right around the $4 to $5 range. I feel like would be a good price for a good, vintage book. You'll definitely pay more for more unique books or signed editions or things like that, but typically if you're just going with a basic book, I wouldn't pay more than $5. As you guys can see here, you can also find a lot more modern books. I thought that this Imperfect Home book would be really pretty for a coffee table with its neutral binding. It was $24, which is kind of comparable with a coffee table book at HomeGoods. This Made of Wood book really caught my eye. I loved the wood cover. I thought that would be such a pretty texture for shelf styling, and all of the photographs were so gorgeous, all very, wooden inspired homes with lots of primitive, cozy wood features, and I just thought that was so cool. So I was about to buy it, but then I found it for $15 on Amazon. So I think Target carries it for that price as well, so I will link it below, but I just thought that was funny, so I figured I would just buy it on there. But I really love this book. Another thing that's just really fun about antique and vintage shopping is just finding random decor that is very unique and isn't something that you would typically see in a store. So it's always just fun finding little things to go on open shelving, like these really cool aged kettles that would look so cute in a kitchen, or something like this brass candlestick holder, just little pieces that feel like they have a story and add some character to your space. I thought this little old school bell could be kind of cute on a stack of books or something. There's just so many random things to find and search through. I almost always spend 3 to 4 hours in antique malls, and that's me trying to go quickly. So definitely give yourself some time if you are heading out to hit the antique malls. But I thought that this little wooden peg hanger was so cute. It was $40, which is kind of pricey, but I thought it would be really pretty decor in like a guest bedroom or something to hang like hats like this or purses on or something, maybe in an entryway. But these hat prices were actually really good. I love the little leather detail on this one, and most of them were only $8 or $9. I thought this little straw one was so cute. So it's not quite a thrift store price, but it's not an expensive price. It's definitely cheaper than HomeGoods or TJ Maxx or something like that. So I don't know why I said HomeGoods. They don't have hats at HomeGoods. I meant TJ Maxx, but thought that this little shop had some really cute stuff. Another thing to kind of keep in mind when going to these antique malls is not everything is an antique. Like this one right here, obviously this is newer, but I thought it would be really cute. I thought it was kind of boho and had some character. Same things with these planters. Some of them you can tell are, crafted, or people have redone things and stuff like that, which I'm totally fine with. Like I think that that's really cool to buy local crafts from local artists and stuff like that. This planter was so cute for only $24. I've seen that same exact planter at another antique mall for like $100, so that was a really good deal. Thought this was cute, obviously a little DIY'd planter, but fun things like this are always fun to look for as well. Just know not everything in an antique mall is an antique, if that makes sense. So another thing that I love to look for are vases, pots, planters, and urns. I just think that these are statement pieces, so when you invest in a statement piece, it really makes a difference because your eye is drawn to that in a room, and because it's like a bigger piece, I think it makes a difference when it's worn and weathered and aged. I just think that it gives your space that cozy lived-in look, and it looks super expensive. And as you guys can see, they actually can be very expensive, so I would never pay more than $100 for a large urn or vase or something like that. I know that can be hard to find, but that's kind of like the deal in my head. If it's under $70, that's like a really good deal, I think. But it kind of just depends on what it is. Like this here, it was $80 and the thing was huge. So I've seen, really small aged pots for $250. It just kind of depends. And, you just got to kind of look and feel everything out. And just kind of keep your eye out for those deals. And I got some really good ones that I'm excited to show you guys in my haul. But another thing that I just love looking for is furniture, because a lot of these furniture pieces tell a story that you just can't get at IKEA or HomeGoods or anything like that. They're just true antique pieces and they're so pretty. So a lot of them are a little bit more on the expensive side, as you guys can see, but it can be worth it if there's just a statement piece that you're willing to splurge on. I thought this desk was so pretty. If you changed out that hardware right there, it's definitely old and aged, but it's in such good condition, and it was $3.95. So there's definitely desks online for more than that are brand new, but I just thought that was really pretty. I loved the legs on there. This old farm table was kind of cool. It's a little bit too rustic for my style, but I still thought it was really pretty for $225. And another great place for antique furniture is the Tobacco Barn in Asheville. This place has so many beautiful pieces. They have a lot of really pretty doors, which I love this one with that really pretty aged detail on there. And you guys, I saw the console table in my dreams, and I'm still kicking myself for not getting it, but how beautiful is this console table? Such pretty aging, $3.95, and it looks like something straight out of an Amber Interiors design. Like, I'm just so obsessed with this thing, but I left it behind. There were a lot of really pretty dining tables there as well for actually semi-decent prices. This was $8.95, which that's pretty comparable to a new dining table price. And they actually have some really beautiful dough bowls here as well. This one was giant and would be gorgeous if you had like a really huge dining table or something and fill it with like florals, but it was $125, which it's pretty typical for something that size. And I thought that these really cool concrete chairs were very interesting. Like, I love the shape and the lines of them, and they looked very Restoration Hardware to me. So I think it's just kind of like a patio set, but it's definitely very artistic and kind of caught my eye because of how unique it was. So yeah, love the Tobacco Barn for antique furniture in the North Carolina area, but let's get back home and show you guys everything I bought.
Okay, so my first item is actually right behind me. This gorgeous European cheese board. So yeah, I really like this guy because he has lots of worn detail. You can definitely tell it was used. There's even little knife cuts in here. I'm really glad that I found this because I found it for $39, which is crazy because most of these run about $100 for something this size online. I don't know if it's because it has a little piece missing off of the side, but I personally don't mind that. I feel like it gives it character, which is really what you look for when you buy pieces like this anyway. You're not wanting something totally new. You want it to be just worn and have those little imperfections. So I layer this with other newer cutting boards against my backsplash for decoration. And as you guys can see, when you mix the old with the new, it adds that bit of history and character and coziness while keeping it modern and fresh at the same time. So for breadboards, I would definitely say, you know, $90 or less is probably a deal because you can get vintage breadboards on Etsy for right around $90. I will try to link everything on Etsy if you guys, you know, you're like, I do not want to take on trying to find these things, which in my personal opinion is half the fun looking for them. But if you guys are like, nah, I'm not about it, I will try to link things that are similar to what I find on Etsy because it is a really great resource for other antique and vintage sellers. So it's very accessible as far as the internet goes. Okay, so this next item is the one thing I probably bought with not a super clear intention of, but I knew I would use it at some point, and it is this pair of really cute aged planters. Now, you can definitely tell these were used. There's like still dirt in them and everything. And I just really love that worn look where it just looks like it's been sitting aging out in the sun forever. A really great thing about these guys was they had the drainage holes, so I could use them to plant my herbs and stuff like that. Sometimes you can find really cute planters, but they aren't made for real plants because they don't have the drainage hole, and we don't want that root rot, am I right? So another great thing about these guys was the price. They were $14 each, which I'm sorry, that's like a home goods price. You know, one thing I think I'm going to use this for is my lavender tree that I just got at Home Depot. I think it would look really cute in here. It kind of reminds me of an olive tree. It just kind of has that little look with the skinny trunk and then some really pretty faded olivey color branches, I guess. And on top of it, it smells good. But anyways, when I was doing research on how to plant lavender trees, they said that they like smaller pots, so I thought this would probably be a perfect size because the root ball that I bought was like roughly about the same size. So I'm gonna see if it'll fit in here, and if it does, I think it'll look really cute. So not sure what I'm gonna use this one for, probably like my rosemary or basil or something, but figured you couldn't go wrong with two $14 planters. Okay, so when antiquing and looking for vintage items, I always just stumble across the cutest little decor pieces that are great for topping off a book or accenting a planter or something like that. So I got this really pretty, I guess it's like a human head, I don't know. I just thought it looked very handmade. It looks like someone chiseled it themselves. There's still like little marks in it from them making it, and I just thought it was so cute. And then I also got this little set of old vintage keys. So they look super old and worn and weathered, and I just love the look of that. I thought these would be really pretty just placed on a stack of books to kind of accent it and give it a little bit something extra to make it a little more visually pleasing. And I figured this could do the same thing, kind of like act like a paperweight decor or just something like that. So when decorating, I always look for things that are small, kind of like this, because they're usually a little bit hard to find and something that you kind of like don't think of. You know, we always think of, let's get a big vase or a big planter or a mirror or artwork or a book. But when you have these really tiny little accent pieces, I really feel like they just help finish off the look so much better. So I was so happy I found this. This guy was $10 and then this guy was $10. So it was $20 total. But I think that they both have a lot of character and they'll look really good on my console table. Okay, so this next item was probably one of the things that I was like the most excited about when I found it. And it is this gorgeous primitive wood riser. And you're like, Jenna, what is that used for? And I'm like, anything. You can put soaps on here, you can put a planter on here. We actually put this in our bathroom with a little planter and then our scent rods and a little accented piece of greenery. And I really just think that it makes that little decor trio seem so much more intentional than just putting like a vase and scent rods down, you know what I mean? I think it's a really great base and it makes things just look very organized and put together, but still looking very like lived in and aged and worn at the same time. I am a huge fan of this thing. I want to get like 20 more of these, so I'm always going to be on the lookout. And this guy was $39, which is crazy for how big this thing is. This is like a size of a huge book, and I've seen ones for way smaller, like in the $70 price range online. So like I said, I'll link things similar to this below. But I think that these risers just look really great. They could be used on like a centerpiece on a table or like a little corner of a coffee table or something like that. There's just so much you can do with them. The one thing you do kind of want to keep in mind though is, if you have a dark wood table and then you find a dark wood riser, you might want to put that somewhere else where it has a little bit more contrast, if that makes sense. So we keep ours on our white quartz countertop so that it's like a contrast, if that makes sense. So you can definitely mix wood tones. Like you could do like a light wood coffee table with a dark wood riser. That would look fine if you didn't have too many other woods going on nearby. But that is something to keep in mind when decorating or like finding a spot for this. But like I said, there's so many places for this. I love it because it just makes your decor look so much more intentional and organized when it's all placed on one of these guys. Okay, so this last item is this really pretty aged vintage bean pot. I feel like that's what it's called from my research. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong and this is something else, but I got a very similar looking one in just a different shape as well, and they were $48 each. So that to me is such a deal because anything this size typically goes for right around $100 that has a visible, authentic aged effect, and anything below 100 I'd say is a really good deal. So when I look for things like this, if it's 120 or 115, I'm like, I'm out. I look for things that are hopefully 70 or below, but $48 is so great for something this size. I love the kind of organic edges of it and just the overall shape. I think it looks super handmade and beautiful. I also like the brown color. I think brown sometimes can be an overlooked neutral color. We all tend to go for like blacks and grays and whites, and I think brown is a really pretty color to decorate with as well. And I just love this like gorgeous kind of like aged look here on the side with like the lighter brown, and it kind of is like that little taupey color mixed in. So I just keep this here on my kitchen countertop because it's one of my favorite items. So I wanted to put it somewhere where I would see it every day, and I just pop some olive branches in there, and I think it looks so beautiful and such a statement piece for our kitchen island. All right, you guys, and that really wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Even if you are an expert antique finder, I know it's always fun to see what kind of items someone else would buy or what kind of things they look for. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I want to thank you guys all for all of your kind comments, support, to everyone who has liked the video, commented on a video, watched through an entire video, watched my ads. It really means a lot to me, and you guys are the reason why I do this. So thank you guys so much. Let me know in the comments what kind of videos you'd like to see. Would you like to see more antiquing / vintage content? Because I can deliver on that, but just let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much again, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.